Hi, this is Ben Ivy, the Fulfillment Artist. And in this video, I'm going to talk to you about my 6-month body transformation. And before I start, I wanted to say that this video is split into 6 sections. So section 1 is why I did a 6-month transformation. Section 2 is what the journey was like. Number 3, my diet. Number 4, my exercise. Number 5, how to track your progress. And number 6, where I am now. So firstly, why did I do a body transformation? Well, I actually had issues in 3 areas. Number 1 was I was unhappy with the way that my body was looking. Number 2 was that I had some serious pain in my neck and I didn't really understand why. And number 3 was that I was having energy dips throughout the day. And I wanted to be able to deal with this so that I could have sustainable energy and not sort of get dreary and tired in the afternoon. So I started searching online and looking for who I could learn off and who was the best person to help me on this journey. Because obviously I travel a lot, so I needed everything to be online and I wanted to find someone that was good, that could cover all these areas that I spoke about. So after looking at a variety of different people, I ended up going with a guy called Mario Tomic. And this guy's got a huge YouTube channel, and I'll put a link to it below because he's got some really cool resources. But I actually knew him through another mastermind that I was part of. And what I did was contacted him, told him everything, and started to understand, what he does and how best to move it forward. And I was like, screw it. So I invested, I gave it a go, and this end of the 6 months has been a pretty incredible journey. So I'm very, very glad that I did. So what was the journey like? Well, as you can see here, I've got some of the progress photos. So as you can see, it starts off and it's pretty slow and it's easy to be disheartened. But then you've got to stay focused and understand the reason why you're doing this. And as you can see the progress month on month, my body posture starts to change and you can start to see the transition of me losing fat in different areas. And I think that the most amazing thing was how much weight I lost overall. Because, through this process, I actually lost about 30 pounds of fat, which was amazing, as well as putting on muscle during the period. So, yes, it's transformational, but there were times that I was frustrated. I was also really hungry. Like, going on a diet like this, I'm telling you now, I did not appreciate food as much as I do now, ever. Damn, I love food. And I had no idea how much I loved food. Instead, I started tracking and only having certain amounts. And because this is the first time I've ever done it, and damn, it was hard. Next thing is the frustration. I did get frustrated with trying to, meet these certain criteria and hit certain calories, and also doing all the different techniques. For example, doing a I can't even remember what the technique is now, but basically when you've got the bar on the floor and you lift it up, it's like a rear thumb, it's like a deadlift something or other. And I just could not get the technique. And it took me a while and it was frustrating. But it's something where you've got to stay focused, stay determined, and then it will really help you moving forward. What else? Well, I learned about the 20-80. So, I've known of the Pareto principle before, but 80% you want to be good and 20% just eat whatever you want as long as you're hitting your calories and macros. I think that the most reason why people don't stick to diets is because it's unsustainable. And the beautiful thing about what Mario did with me is that it's something that's sustainable that I can carry on doing. Because it's not like, oh, you can't eat chocolate. Yeah, you can. You just can't have as much. Or if you're going to eat it, you don't have as much in the beginning of the day and you have more towards the end. And I think that understanding that and being able to give yourself that time off, you can have pizzas, you can have an Indian, you can have whatever, but you just need to be aware of it and then not eat as much during the day or to cut calories on another day. That is sustainable. And I think the sad thing is that most people that go on diets, it's just so unsustainable. So for me, I now have so much more respect for people that I see with, bodies that are healthy, because it's very easy for someone to get fit and look good, but I wanted to look good, but also be incredibly healthy at the same time. And it's that blend that's really, really important. Often we see people on the surface and we think they're fine psychology-wise, and inside is, they're not doing well. It's the same with our bodies. Someone can look really good, but actually not be very healthy. So I wanted to have both, where I had the health and the body, and the journey was incredible. So, what was the diet? Okay, so the first thing is track your calories. So what does this mean? Basically, our bodies are very simple. Imagine it being a maths equation, right? It's calories in versus calories out. And if we were to say you have 10 calories in and you expend 9 of those calories, then you've got 1 calorie extra, which is going to stay on your body. The same goes that if you, let's say, took 10 calories and expended 12 calories, you're on minus 2 calories. And that's when most of us get hungry, and then we eat the extra 2 calories to maintain our body weight. So the calories in, calories out is something that I never really thought about. I understood calories in food, like roughly, but actually starting to really track it and to understand how many calories you need to hit per day. For myself, when I first started, I needed 2,400 calories on workout days and 2,000 calories on non-workout days. So if you're looking at the photos and thinking you're a similar size, I'd say go with that and see how that works for you. Number 2 is hit your macros. So what on earth are macros? I had no idea. Macros are basically fats, protein, and carbohydrates. And you need them all for different reasons. And the biggest one for me was understanding how much protein you needed. Because when you're losing weight, I did diets before. I say I did diets before. I was eating healthier before and like trying to go veggie or doing all these different things. But my protein levels weren't high enough to sustain my muscle mass. So what would happen is I would lose weight, but I would also lose muscle as well. And that isn't what I wanted to do. I wanted to maintain my muscle whilst losing weight. So that means that you've got to maintain a certain amount of protein in your diet. So for myself, over these 6 months, I've had to maintain about 150 grams of protein. And it's so interesting to start to understand, like, what is in food? Like, how much protein is actually in the food you eat? And it's very interesting because, you don't know until you know you don't know. And now I know, I really didn't know. So when it comes to the macros, there's a certain level of fats and a certain level of carbs. People will say you need to have a high fat, low carbs. People say you need to have high carbs, low fat. I went for slightly higher carbs, slightly less fats. But to be honest, the biggest thing I did was hit my protein levels each day. And then the fats and carbs, I probably didn't do as perfectly as I could have. But I think that with everything, it's 20/80, right? Okay, so the next thing is drink a ton of water. I drank a lot of water whilst previously, but nowhere near as much as I do now. And the beautiful thing is I buy one of these things, it's got 2 liters, and it just allows you to track how much water you have in a day. So I would say for yourself, if you're seriously going to go into this, buy one of these canisters and have about 3 or 4 liters of water every day. Because that'll really help you not stay hungry. Because when we're hungry, we can also just be dehydrated, and it's the same reflex. And if you drink water, then you're actually fine. It's not that your body's hungry, your body's actually just dehydrated. Next is eat more veggies. So as you start to track your calories, you're just going to start to see that vegetables, don't really have that many calories in compared to other foods. So you need to make sure that you have lots of vegetables that have insoluble fiber and fiber in that stay in your gut so that you don't feel as hungry. Because I remember when I first started, I was freaking starving all the time, and I was like, I don't think I can do this. And it's funny, you're meant to give numbers in the spreadsheet of how hungry you are, -3 being starving. It started off, I was like -3, -3, -2, -3, -3, because I was so hungry. So now I understand how important it is to get lots of vegetables, lots of fruits that are healthy. And it's very interesting to understand what vegetables also have protein as well, like peas and broccoli. It's very, very fascinating. Next is supplements. So supplements honestly aren't very, they don't actually have a very big effect on you. People go on about supplements, but the biggest thing you need to do is calories and macros. All the supplements you basically need would be vitamin D if you don't go in the sun that much. And then fish oil, I'm not exactly quite sure what it's for. But fish oil as well can be good for you to, do something. I trust in the process rather than questioning everything. Next is intermittent fasting. So this is something that was introduced to me probably about halfway through, and it's brilliant, and I wish I did it straight away. Basically, it means that you only eat in a period of about 8 hours in the day. So let's say you get up at 6, you have your breakfast at 10, lunch at 2, dinner at 6. So that's spread out over an 8-hour period. And then what happens is you fast the rest of the time. Now this is brilliant because it means that you can drink enough water in the day, because what would happen is I'd wake up, I'd eat food, and then I'd try and have enough water, and I wasn't sure if I was hungry or not. So I'm telling you now, being able to drink all the water in the morning has done me a wonder of good. Like, I want to aim to have a liter, before I start my day, and it just means I'm completely hydrated, and I just think in a very, very different way. So please implement intermittent fasting. The last thing in the diet is to keep it simple. So here, look for 3 sources of protein, 3 sources of 3 sources of carbs, and 3 sources of fats, like the main ones. And then make sure you've got your favorite food included, but the simpler you make it, the better. Don't overcomplicate it. Just have simple meals and have them over and over and over again. So now let's move on to my exercise. So what exercise did I do? Well, basically, when I started, I told Mary about what I was eating, the exercises that I was doing in the gym, my favorite exercises, things like that. And then he made a routine tailored for me. And this is probably just like going to a PT, getting a routine tailored for you. But what I noticed was that this was different in the sense that I was working out my muscles like every other day. So imagine I work out 3 times a week, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I would be working out chest on Monday, a bit of chest on Wednesday, and a bit of chest on Friday as well. And this is very different to what I've done before, because usually I'd have a chest day, a back day, a leg day. So I was a little bit put off, but I trusted the process, and it's been really, really cool to be able to go through it. And obviously, there's this whole thing on different sets, like the reps you need to do, and everyone's got lots of things on there. So I would say find out whatever suits you. But the 2 things that I noticed were the most important for me was getting stronger glutes. Now, because I sit quite a lot, on client calls, typing, doing admin, things like that, my glutes were very, very weak. And it's something that I never really thought about before, but your butt needs to be strong. You need to have a strong ass, because most of us are very weak glutes, and we've got bad hip flexors, and this is where our body starts to deteriorate as such. So you need to do exercises that really strengthen your glutes, and the hip flexor extension, doing all these exercises with squats, there's thrust exercise, but they just really work your glutes. And it's amazing how, as you start to do this, your body structure changes. So if you imagine that my hips would always be turned the wrong way, and there'd always be a slight arch, and my arse would stick out, and now it's started to move in. My belly's not sticking out anymore, and it's purely because my hips have changed more than anything. And that's because I've loosened my hip flexors and I've tightened my glutes. So the glutes is a huge one. And the next thing is my back. So I needed my back to be stronger in order to pull my shoulders back. Because what happened was, when I was younger, like everyone does, you work out chest and you work out abs because that's what everyone sees, and you don't really care about anything else. So that's what I would do. So I'd work out chest. So I had a really big chest and I had strong abs. But the issue was my back wasn't very strong, nor my shoulders. So my body posture, can you imagine, was more like this. So my shoulders are there, whereas now it's like that. So in essence, what you want to be able to do is to balance your body. And that's why I think it's so important, not just to follow any routine online, but to get a routine tailored for you, where you can implement changes for your body structure. Because if you imagine, we're all going to be at different starting points with different parts of us developed. So you want to make sure that you get that balance to then really shift you forward in a way that's sustainable, as opposed to developing different areas and then looking strange. So next is focus on the technique. Now, I had absolutely no idea that I've been doing press-ups wrong for all my life. And I've done a fair amount of press-ups in my life, but I had no idea. I've been doing chest press wrong, I've been doing pull-ups wrong. And it's interesting because even when I was at the gym and I worked with different PTs, some of these people wouldn't even know or wouldn't even notice the exact issues that I was having. Because the beautiful part of doing the online stuff is I'd film myself doing it and then I get feedback from different members of the group. Now, focusing on the technique will really help strengthen your body in a very different way that's sustainable. Because what you don't want to do is keep upping the weight, and it's great to have progress, but if you're not doing the technique properly, then it's a waste of time. So you really want to make sure that you master the basics. And it's easy when we see people in the gym doing all these fancy things and all this different equipment, but you just got to keep it simple and really focus on the technique. Next is stretch after workouts. Now, before I used to stretch before the workouts, and I realized that that was not the right thing to do, and I've been doing that wrong for a long time. So instead, you want to stretch after the workout, because what would happen is I would work out, I'd come home and then I'd sit down, and what would happen is, because I wouldn't stretch, my body would start to tense up, and then that's when, maybe my neck would hurt, my body would feel tight, and then I'd sort of stretch throughout the day, but never really properly. And then it would take a couple of days for me to really recover. So stretch, and you only have to do it for about 10-15 minutes, but it will really help you loosen up your body so that you feel energized throughout the day instead of achy. And the last one here is buy a Fitbit. Fitbits are the best thing in the world, ever. Like, honestly, I have my Fitbit here. It's incredible. Like, you start to understand your sleep patterns. You start to understand how many steps you need to do in a day. Like, this was recommended for me to get a Fitbit as opposed to tracking on my phone. And a Fitbit is so much better because you start to see, like, you should be doing 6,000 steps in a day, minimum, just to be a healthy human being. So by doing this, not only can you like challenge people as well, you get like daily challenges, and I have a daily challenge once a month with one of my really close friends. And that seriously makes me do a lot more exercise than I've been doing previously. But also it makes you so aware of how much you move in the day. And even if you're just moving for 5 minutes every hour, it adds up so much. And it reminds you of these different things. So I'll put a link in the description. Buy a Fitbit. Just do it, because it will really, really change your health and like how you view all these things, because you're starting to track things. Remember, what you measure, you improve. So you've got to get a Fitbit. So now, how to track your progress. MyFitnessPal. That's what you need to download. MyFitnessPal is the best thing for tracking your food intake, your calories, your macros. It is the best. It's free to use. Like a lot of people I know use the free version. I actually paid for the premium version. It's a little bit more, but all I wanted to do was just to change different day calories, because I just wanted to be able to see it instead of working it out in my head. And it's a really small thing, but for me, it kind of bugged me, so I just wanted to be able to see that. It will tell you the macros. You can scan your food. I didn't even know you could scan your food for the first 2 months I was doing MyFitnessPal. So I was entering everything in manually. But actually on the packets, if you click I think it's top right, you can scan it and it will immediately go into MyFitnessPal, like all the data. It's so cool. So I'd recommend, even if you're not doing a diet, just be aware of what you're eating and like how much protein you're having, how much fat, how much carbs. So MyFitnessPal is something that is like the must if you're going to start dieting or if you're going to start transforming your body. Next is measure how much you weigh. And you need to measure how much you weigh in the morning before you drink lots of water, before you do anything else, because that way you can start to understand how much weight you're losing. Because sometimes when we look at our bodies, if we look at our bodies each day, you're not really going to see the progress, right? So certainly taking progress photos is really important as well. But by measuring how much you weigh, you can start to see the weight decrease, and this will help keep you motivated because you can see the progress. Now, the last thing is measure your workouts. So we used Google Sheets, and that way, I could comment on things like that. If you're going to work with a PT, then, just make sure that you're tracking your workout. You can see everything, and make sure to follow exactly what it is that needs to happen when you reach plateaus and how to get over those plateaus. Because I never really knew before, but it's very interesting, and you need to follow the techniques to really start to move yourself forward. So this comes to what's my plan now and where am I? So my plan now is to put a little bit more muscle on, and then just to maintain balance. And I just want to be incredibly lean and strong. So to be able to do muscle ups, to be able to do one-arm pull-ups. I don't really care how big and how strong. I don't need to look like some ridiculous Spartan man with biceps the size of my head. I just want to be healthy and fit and be able to move forward with enough energy in the day that I can serve my clients more, I can serve people more, and I can inspire more people too. So overall, looking at the 3 things that I wanted to target, I've met all of them. So my body is definitely completely changed, as you can see by all the photos. Next, my neck pain. Not only have I decreased my neck pain massively, but I understand why it happens. I understand if I sit too much in the day, my neck will hurt and I need to stretch my hip flexors. And I never really understood that before. So to be able to understand my sedentary lifestyle and start to move throughout the day, as well as the stretching at the end of workouts, has been awesome. Next was the energy. So my energy is now so much more sustainable than it was. And I think that's brilliant because it just goes to show that when you start to understand what you put into your body, your energy levels is just going to rise. I didn't mention this, but I'm just going to. When you do your workouts, make sure that you have protein and carbs before your workout and have protein and carbs after your workout. I didn't realize this before, but what happens is when you work out, you need to use protein. So let's say you're doing a chest day, you'll take muscles from your leg to your chest if you haven't had protein before. And that's why people's bodies start to change very rapidly and their legs get smaller, because they're not having protein before their workouts. That's something that I didn't mention that I think is really important. So please make sure that when you start doing that to put those in. And the best way to do it is with a shake and then have like an apple. I have an apple and one scoop beforehand, and then I have a banana and one scoop after, which is a really good way, because I think bananas are really good to help you recover from your workout. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Like I said, I put a link to Mario below if you want to check out some of his YouTube videos. He's got a ton. If you want to check out any more of my experiments or anything else that I've done, like the Wim Hof method or the minimalist lifestyle, do check that out. And obviously my channel's there to help you live an incredibly fulfilled life. So please make sure to subscribe and to share this video with others who you want to inspire. It's been an incredible journey. Thank you, Mario, for helping me and putting up with all my questions. And yeah, I hope that you can create whatever it is that you want for your body and make sure to be healthy and to understand yourself. I'll leave you with this. An intelligent person understands others. An enlightened person understands themselves. So get to know your body, understand what's right for you, and I hope that you can live an incredibly fulfilled life. Thank you for watching, and I'll speak to you soon.